Part 86. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 852. Who? The middle-aged man's expression changed, even horrified. This is his exclusive laboratory building. After leaving the Holy Light Judgment, he activated the comprehensive protection system just in case. Without his permission, it is absolutely impossible for outsiders to come in. This is also a means for the Intercontinental Research Institute to protect researchers. If at the most critical moment, researchers can also activate the self-destruct system to prevent experimental data and information from being stolen. The middle-aged man turned his head sharply. But before he could see the person standing at the door clearly, there was a bang. His whole body was pressed against the wall, and pain spread down his spine and swept through his whole body. His head was also pressed, making a buzzing sound. The assistant subconsciously screamed. But as soon as he made a short sound, his voice was all stuck in his throat. Sci-fi looked at the assistant whose voice was broken coldly. "What's your name?" The assistant looked horrified, his legs softened, and he knelt down. "You, who are you? What do you want to do?" The middle-aged man couldn't move, he was shocked and angry. "You dare to break into the Intercontinental Research Institute without permission, you are seeking death." Sci-fi grabbed his neck, tightened her grip, and said in a calm voice, "Do you still have the strength to speak?" More severe pain came, and the middle-aged man couldn't help but scream, and even began to beg for mercy. "Let me go, I was wrong, I don't dare to do it anymore." He had no backbone, otherwise he would not have been easily bought by the revenge organization with power and money. Sci-fi ignored his plea for mercy, but took out a thumb-thick hemp rope and tied up the middle-aged man and his assistant. "You are right. How could you, an ordinary A-level researcher, accomplish this task of framing Dean Su?" Sci-fi raised his eyebrows. "It has to be someone who is on an equal footing with him." The middle-aged man's face turned pale. "You, what do you want to do? Who are you?" "A very young girl. The appearance is ordinary and there is nothing memorable about it." He searched his mind for all the people of the right age, but no one could match his number. The middle-aged man reacted suddenly, with a serious look on his face. "Hide your head and show your tail, don't you even dare to show your true face." Sci-fi shrugged, not accepting the Zhejiang method at all. She lifted the middle-aged man and his assistant up with one hand and shouted, "Teacher, please look at it first while I sort out the information here." Dean Dongfang, who was chewing buns at the door, immediately controlled the two of them and said with a smile, "No problem, disciple, you are busy with your business, there are teachers here." Sci-fi quickly walked to the computer and tapped her fingers on the keyboard. Soon, she collected a lot of information. But middle-aged people are indeed very cautious, and some information has been completely deleted. Sci-fi looked calm, entered a few more codes, forcibly restored the data, and imported all the data into the mobile hard drive. "Teacher, it's okay," she nodded towards Dean Dongfang, "let's go." With Dean Dongfang, recognized as the third strongest person in Free Continent, the two of them left the Intercontinental Research Institute easily. Dean Dongfang frowned. "Disciple, he just said that someone is protecting him, so someone from the top of the Intercontinental Research Institute must take action." He was also anxious as never before. The Intercontinental Research Institute has been infiltrated, so the Eternal Academy will not be much better. "Well, it's very hidden. I just checked and couldn't find it." Sci-fi's eyes were dark. "I'm 70% sure that this person is inseparable from the explosion I experienced." Dean Dongfang's expression changed. "Teacher, you go back to the academy first, pretend you don't know anything, and sell a few flaws at the right time." Sci-fi raised his eyebrows. "Find a way to fish out the traitors." Dean Dongfang nodded. "I understand, it's about acting. I watched a few of your movies and TV series and learned some skills." Si fucking was choked, cough cough cough. What about these two people? Dean Dongfang shook the person in his hand. I will send them to the Holy Light Judgment Office in a moment, Si fucking said. Before that, they still have some uses. Dean Dongfang nodded, okay, contact me if you need anything. The two separated. Si fucking first brought the middle-aged man and his assistant to an alley. Tsukimi is already waiting there. Si fucking threw the two people to the ground. Third senior sister, we are in trouble. It's a small matter. Yu-ji-un raised his eyebrows. I just happen to have improved recently. I'll practice my skills. She held the middle-aged man's head with one hand. Buzz. The middle-aged man felt his eyes go dark, as if he had fallen into an endless universe. He kept falling, never reaching the ground, and his soul was screaming. It was only a second, but it seemed as if he had experienced a century. The middle-aged man finally couldn't hold on and passed out. Well, after checking his memory, there is indeed a senior executive from the Intercontinental Research Institute who is in contact with him. Yu-ji-un withdrew his hand and frowned, but the other party was very cautious and never showed up. The assistant listened with a horrified expression. Memory? You actually. Yu-ji-un smiled charmingly and said in a gentle voice, if you see something you shouldn't see, you should forget about it. She snapped her fingers. The assistant felt a flash of white light in front of his eyes and passed out. Yu-ji-un stood up. Zyaju, let's go to the Holy Light Judgment Office together. Third senior sister, the memory one has not appeared for a long time. Si fucking suddenly said, if he joins the revenge organization like the Transformers, this will be a huge threat to us. Memory person, S-level spiritual evolver. Telepathy is an ability shared by all spiritual evolutionaries, and there are only differences in strength and weakness. The Memorer, like his code name, is related to memory. He can invade other people's brains and steal anyone's memory without contact. You can even perform remote control and control other people's bodies. Yu-ji-un's expression darkened. Yes, he hasn't appeared for a long time. But third senior sister is getting more and more powerful. Si fucking blinked. I will definitely be able to defeat him. Yu-ji-un snorted slightly. You started coaxing me again. Well, what should I do? I will just accept your tricks. Si fucking clasped his hands and said, I will need the help of third senior sister in 2 days. Tsukimi touched her head. No problem. She pulled back, thinking. My junior sister's hair feels really good. No wonder my junior sister-in-law always likes to touch it. She needs to be touched more in the future. The Intercontinental Research Institute searched up and down for 2 days. Except for some traces of collaboration with the enemy in Dean Su's office, the rest of the place was clean. The Supreme Dean cannot accept this matter and is still arguing with the Holy Light Judgment Office. Dean, I'm very sorry. We acted according to the rules and the time has come, the cavalry commander said coldly and ruthlessly. The investigation period has ended. For the sake of fairness and justice, the Holy Light Judgment Office will announce Dean Su Ce's crimes to the residents of the whole state. No, you. The Supreme Dean could only watch the cavalry evacuate. At the same time, the Holy Light Judgment Office also pronounced Dean Su guilty of betraying the Intercontinental Research Institute in the main city. And there will be immediate execution of punishments and trials across the continent. The people of the island were shocked. How could Dean Su do such a thing? He has invented many things. Knowing people but not knowing their faces, he is just obsessed with his mind. Fortunately, we were discovered by the Holy Light Judgment, otherwise it would have been terrible. The citizens of the continent have absolute trust in the Holy Light Judgment. Dean Su's case was handled by the Saturday Cavalry, and the trial was also presided over by the Saturday Cavalry captain. Everyone, I am very sorry that Dean Su Ce would do such a thing. He patted the microphone and said in a cold voice, although he has made many contributions, if he is wrong, he is wrong. The Intercontinental Research Institute will never favor anyone. Now, I declare, Sue Ce. Boom. A loud bang interrupted the Saturday cavalry commander's words. The people watching the trial were also shocked. Isn't that a researcher from the Institute of Mechanical Engineering? He seems to be a subordinate of Dean Sue. Why did he fall? What happened? The cavalry commander's face instantly turned cold. Take him down, and no one is allowed to disturb the trial. But the middle-aged man came to the center of the high platform as quickly as possible, grabbed the microphone, and began to cry bitterly, "I'm sorry for the Intercontinental Research Institute and everyone, because I was jealous of Dean Sue and I framed him. It was actually me who colluded with the revenge organization. I have evidence. This is the information the revenge organization used to contact me. There is also a lot of information, all here." He told everything in one breath and laid out the evidence. In an instant, the whole place was silent. The commander of the cavalry on Saturday looked ashen. This memoir was also mentioned once in chapter 21. It was a foreshadowing for a long time. It's the last 10 hours. If you have votes, please remember to vote for me. It will expire at midnight. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Ching Qian. Chapter 853. The audience was silent. Even the cavalry captain on Saturday, who had been serving in the Holy Light Tribunal for a long time, was dazed and almost couldn't help kicking the middle-aged man off. "The bastard! Do you know what you are talking about? Where would anyone be stupid enough to expose everything they did? How is this different from suicidal behavior? No matter what he does now, this trial will have to end." However, the middle-aged man was also very confused holding the microphone. After he finished speaking, he seemed to be stuck when the stop button was pressed. And when the middle-aged man reacted, he was horrified to find that he had already said everything. How is this going? It seemed that at that moment, someone had invaded his brain and occupied his consciousness, making him unable to control his behavior at all. The middle-aged man yelled again, and threw the microphone to the ground angrily, "No. I didn't do it, I didn't." He should obviously be in the office, watching the trial, and admiring the tragedy of Dean Sue. Why is it here? The middle-aged man tried his best to recall his previous memories, but found a blank space and could not recall anything. He became more and more panic-stricken, grabbed the cavalry captain, and trembled, "Master Saturday, you must save me, the devil has occupied my brain." "What a devil? You are the devil." The Supreme Dean couldn't take it anymore and jumped onto the stage. He grabbed the middle-aged man by the collar and punched him. "Dean Sue is so kind to the people in the Mechanical Academy, but you actually framed him in reverse. You are an unforgivable crime." At this time, the citizens who were hearing the trial in the audience also reacted. They were all very angry and attacked them together. "It's too despicable to frame Dean Sue for your own selfishness. You must be punished. Dean Sue has made so many contributions to Liberty Island, this shameless villain is simply incomparable. Hey, I've said it a long time ago, Dean Sue is dedicated to the Free State. How could he do such a thing as collaborating with the enemy and rebelling? Why didn't the Holy Light Tribunal find out?" The previous wind direction was immediately reversed. The middle-aged man and the Holy Light Tribunal became the targets of the crusade. The scene was a little out of control for a while. The cavalry commander said angrily, "Everyone be quiet." The crowd fell silent. "By the way, there is one more thing. If Dean Sue is proven innocent and the culprit is someone else, then both the captor and the culprit will be subject to a 7-day creation trial among the crowd." Slightly he smiled softly, "As a captor, Mr. Saturday will never break his word, right?" Her voice was not high and casual, but because of the silence at the moment, it was clearly heard by everyone. With a swish, all eyes were on Saturday's cavalry commander. The face of the cavalry captain on Saturday was even uglier. Who is talking nonsense? Sci raised his eyes, still unhurried, without any fear. We believe in the Holy Light Tribunal so much, but you haven't cleared up the grievances for President Su. If there are similar incidents in the future, who would dare to put their lives in the hands of the Holy Light Tribunal? The cavalry captain on Saturday scanned the crowd with sharp eyes, but failed to catch the source of the sound. Junior sister, you are killing two birds with one stone. Yu Jian touched her chin and lowered her voice. The absolute belief of the Holy Light Tribunal has been shaken today. Sci narrowed his fox eyes faintly. It's not enough. The prestige of the Holy Light Tribunal is too high. Although Yunjin and the head of the Holy Light Tribunal are the peak powerhouses of the same echelon, the top of the cloud has always kept a low profile and has not tried to control the hearts of the people. And hearing what Sci said, the Supreme Dean also remembered. His expression was cold and firm. Should we let Dean Su out first? He is still in the silent dark room. If something happens to him, you will be punished. At this time, there was silence in the dark room. The man seemed to hear something, and his ears moved. He drank the last sip of wine in the wine jar, and patted Dean Su on the shoulder. It's time for you to pretend to be crazy. Dean Su was still holding the plate of edamame, a little dazed. What? Why, are you going to go out intact and be targeted by the revenge organization? The man tilted his head and snorted lightly. This is a good opportunity for the golden cicada to escape its shell. You can do the experiment with peace of mind, otherwise why would the girl insist on doing it? Send you to me. Dean Su scratched his head. You are right, this place is really nice. It's a great sanctuary. Okay, get out quickly. The man stood up. The person who picked you up is here. After taking 2 steps, he seemed to remember something. By the way, acting may not be enough for you, I will help you. The man patted Dean Su on the head again. You can go now. Dean Su was stunned, and arrived at the door of the silent black room. Playing crazy and acting stupid, right? He's the best at it. 2 cavalrymen took Dean Su out, and after seeing his appearance, they all understood. Still crazy. How can I explain this? They bit their heads and led President Su to the Holy Light Tribunal. The Supreme Dean immediately rushed forward. Old Su, are you all right? Dean Su didn't speak, his eyes were dull. The Supreme Dean's heart trembled, and he burst into tears. Old Su. Old Su, talk to me, Old Su. Dean Su stared blankly at him, and after a few seconds, he smirked. The Supreme Dean felt a chill in his heart. Dean Su is crazy. Although it had long been expected that Dean Su would not be able to resist the punishment of the silent black room, but after seeing it with his own eyes, Saturday's cavalry commander was also shocked. If Dean Su really betrayed the Intercontinental Research Institute, then death would not be a pity. But he is an innocent now. At this moment, the anger of the citizens has also reached its peak. Strict trial is necessary. Otherwise, the suffering of President Su will be in vain. That's right, what's wrong with the cavalry commander? The cavalry commander should protect the researcher more, and you didn't do it? 7 days of trial. 7 days of trial. The noise was even louder, and Saturday's cavalry commander lost his prestige again, and he couldn't deter him at all. But at this time, a long drink suddenly sounded, instantly covering all the voices. Quiet. All sound died away, and there was silence. Sci raised his head, his pupils shrank slightly. This momentum and courage. Head of the Holy Light Tribunal. Sure enough, the cavalry all knelt on one knee. See the head of state. We see the head of state. Saturday violated the law, and the position of cavalry commander was resigned, and the deputy took over the position of cavalry commander. The voice said calmly, Saturday's trial will be carried out on Monday, and tomorrow will be judged. You are welcome to come and watch. The last 7-day trial was in the middle of last year, when Eternal Academy was caught as a traitor of several revenge organizations. A year has passed since now. The citizens were also appeased, and they were very respectful. Your head of state is wise. Send the best doctor to treat President Su, the head of state said gently. The safety of President Su is the responsibility of the Holy Light Judgment. The Supreme Dean didn't appreciate it, and snorted coldly, I don't need you, I will personally send Lao Su home. He looked at Dean Su, who could only smirk, and felt sour in his heart. Old Su, let's go. Sci-fi and Yu Jian also dispersed with the crowd. This head of state is really not simple. He stabilized the situation with just a few words. Yu Jian sighed softly. Little junior sister, do you think he will be on the revenge organization's side? 50% chance. Sci-Fu tilted his eyebrows. The head of state is out, isn't the master out? Yu Jian paused. No. Sci didn't care, just nodded. I'll take teacher Su back to Huo's house first, so as not to have long nights and dreams. The Intercontinental Research Institute has lost a general named Dean Su, and everyone is in danger. The researchers also became cautious, for fear that it would be their turn next. And several rounds of treatment have proved that Dean Su is really stupid, and his IQ is not as good as that of a 3-year-old child. The Supreme Dean had no choice but to let Dean Su be picked up by Lu Xingkai. After a few more turnarounds, Dean Su was sent to Huo's house safe and sound. Only then did he return to normal, patting his chest. Oh my god, I'm so exhausted, I've been pretending for 2 days, I'm really going crazy. Sci poured him a cup of tea. Teacher, take a good rest. After Dean Su finished drinking, he was a little suspicious. What are you going to do? Sci blinked. Of course it's to catch the mouse's tail. She made a new disguise, went to the Intercontinental Research Institute, and came to Dean Su's office. Time passed by, and she waited quietly. An hour later, it was still silent. Professor Katharina, are you looking for the experimental materials left by Dean Su? Sci said suddenly. Why don't you ask him for it? See you next year. In the last few hours, everyone remember to clear all the monthly tickets. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 854. There was still silence in the office, not even the sound of the wind. Don't even think about running away, Sci said calmly, I can see you. Bang. With a sound, both the front and back doors were closed. Diddy. At the same time, the protection system was also activated. It was quiet for another 5 seconds, and finally, a space began to fluctuate slightly. A woman in a white lab coat appears. She also held a tablet in her hand, looking serious and cold. It is Professor Katharina, an S-level researcher at the Intercontinental Research Institute who enjoys high honor and popularity. He is as famous as Lu Xingkai's teacher Professor Hanadan. Although she did not serve as the dean of the branch, her importance was no less important than that of Dean Su. Katharina's eyes were cold. How did you find me? It seems that there are indeed many branches of the revenge organization, and your tasks are not the same or even completely incompatible with each other. Sci leaned on the chair with a casual expression. You don't know any other information about me. Some people in the revenge organization know that she is the daughter of Luck, while others know that she is Yin Baikon's daughter. But unfortunately, because these people belong to different departments, and because they are undercover with different forces, they have not communicated with each other. This creates a serious information gap. What information do you have? Katsalina frowned and her voice became colder. I remember you. You were really lucky last time. You were fine after going deep into the poisonous mist. Her impression of Sci-fi only existed because he ranked first in the international joint examination and was recruited into the research team by Liu Xingkai. It seems that he is still some kind of star outside the continent, a great game master. But what's the use of this in a free continent? It couldn't catch her eye at all. Yes, you can find me, and I recognize your ability, Katharina said lightly. I will give you 2 ways. The first is to sign a life and death contract and join the revenge organization. Sci-fi was very interested. You only said one thing, what about the second one? The second option, Katharina sneered, revealing her true face. The second option is a dead end. If you refuse, you will die quietly the next day. She glanced at her watch impatiently. I'll give you 5 seconds to choose. Sorry, I don't choose your path. Sci-fi stood up, but you must go my way. Buzz. The space suddenly became certain. The pressure of the huge evolutionary bloodline suddenly rose, overwhelming. With a plop, Katsalina knelt down on the ground and threw the tablet in her hand. Sci-fi bent down to pick it up and cracked the code easily. She glanced at the screen. What, you want to continue making anti-gravity armor? Katsalina was shocked, and her calm expression shattered. S-class evolved person. Not to mention S-level evolvers, even A-level evolvers would choose the latter between Intercontinental Research Institute and Eternal Academy. For the evolver, improving the evolver's strength is the top priority. Unless you are an evolver without combat capabilities, you will choose the next best option to study this path. Professor, you have a very high IQ. Why didn't you think that I could find you? Because I also have spatial abilities. Sci-fi raised his eyebrows, but this is not your ability, right? It's because of the medicine. Possess the ability to become invisible for a short period of time. The tone paused for a moment, and then he suddenly said with a chilling tone, the Invisible Man has indeed joined you. He has a good relationship with the Memory One, so I guess the Memory One can't escape either. Katharina finally panicked. Who are you? What are you going to do? This girl seems to know everything. Don't worry, I won't hand you over to the Holy Light Judgment Office. Sci-fi grabbed Katharina's throat, lifted her up, and said slowly, it's more fun to avenge yourself. On the other side, the Huo family. Dean Su couldn't wait, and under the leadership of Butler Huo, he met Lang Xian. Dean Su. Lang Xian nodded, I'm glad to be able to work with you. Hello. Dean Su shook hands with him, looked around, and exclaimed, I didn't expect there to be such a big laboratory here in the Huo family. Butler Huo smiled, this is a place specially reserved for the young lady. Dean Su, you can rest assured that you are safe here. I really like this place. Dean Su couldn't help sighing. It's true that one person has achieved enlightenment, and chickens and dogs can ascend to heaven. Lang Xian. Although he doesn't know much about Daxia culture, is there something wrong with this sentence? The cell phone rang at this moment, breaking the silence. Hello, Lang Xian picked up, and the other party said a few words, and his expression changed. Caught. Okay, I'll go over right now, wait for me. Dean Su raised his head, what's wrong? It's a bit urgent. Dean Su, please sort out the information first. Lang Xian's face was cold, I will contact you later if I have anything else. Oh, I'm fine, it's fine. Dean Su waved his hand, you go and do your work, I'll go around alone. Lang Xian pursed his lips tightly and rushed all the way to the location given by Tan Jingmo. When he arrived, Yuning, Yu Jian and Yuan Mingqi also arrived. Lang Xian glanced at Katharina, who was tied to the pillar, and couldn't help being surprised. Why is it her? He also had experimental contacts with Katharina, and he had the impression that she was a very good person and she carefully guided the students. A good undercover agent is one who makes people unexpected. Yu Jian clicked his tongue. The criminal organizations I took down before would never have thought that I was an undercover agent before they were dismantled. Yun Ying tapped his chin. Xiaju, let's get started. Katharina was extremely panicked. Who are you? Even if Sci-fucking is an S-class evolved person, how could she be quietly abducted to a strange place without alerting the Revenge Organization and the Intercontinental Research Institute? Under the gazes of several eyes, Katharina felt as if her whole body had been cut open, her scalp was numb, and her blood had run cold. 5 years ago, you and the Revenge Organization joined forces to create an explosion that killed S009. Sci-fucking said in a slow voice. Last year, you did the same thing. You wanted to kill Dean Su, and you didn't hesitate to drag hundreds of researchers. Get in the water. This time you contacted the traitor in the Mechanical Institute and framed Dean Su, hoping to get rid of him with the help of the Holy Light Judgment Institute. Katharina said with a sullen face, have you also investigated what happened 5 years ago? As one of the masterminds of the explosion, she had been hiding it well and no one suspected her. It had been so long that she had almost forgotten about it. I'm curious as to why S009 offended you. Sci-fucking said calmly, she is actually more important than Dean Su. Katharina pursed her lips and said nothing. S009 is the youngest S-class researcher. He is extremely talented and studied under Su Ce. There have long been rumors within the Intercontinental Research Institute that she will be the future successor to the Supreme Dean. Katharina was inevitably jealous. The mission to assassinate S009 was directly issued by the leader of the Revenge Organization, requiring that he be killed, and she was responsible for executing it. After the mission was completed, she was promoted and received more rights. The death of S009 will have no impact on her. Sci-fucking nodded. It seems that he is not qualified enough to know. Katharina was stabbed in the painful foot and glared, nonsense, you don't know anything. She just wants to die. As soon as she finished saying this, there was a bang sound, and Katsalina was kicked by Yun Ying. With a click, her ribs were broken, and she couldn't help but let out a scream. Yun Ying crossed her legs and said calmly, I can't help it, continue. Sci-fucking clasped his hands and smiled slightly, but it's a pity that I disappoint you. I'm not dead. Katharina's pupils suddenly shrank, and her expression was completely shattered. Impossible. You. Such a huge explosion left no bones left. Even the ultimate S-class evolver cannot survive. Let's get to know each other again. Sci-fucking slowly stood up. Sci-fucking, researcher S009, disciple Xingju of Top of the Clouds. I came back to you alive. Let's update according to the time of 2023. Happy New Year, my dears. Does anyone have a monthly ticket for the new year? It's doubled, 1 vote is worth 2 votes, please vote for Ching Ching. Thank you very much for your support. Ching Ching will continue to accompany you in the new year. If everything goes well, the main text will be completed by the end of the month. If not, the holes will definitely be filled next month. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Ching Qian. Chapter 855. Katharina's pupils dilated, and her body trembled violently. However, after more than 10 seconds, she calmed down and laughed loudly. It's really amazing that you can find out what happened 5 years ago, but do you think I will be scared when you say this? Impossible. The Intercontinental Research Institute does have the technology to resurrect the dead, but the body must be intact, and it must be within 10 minutes of death. In order to ensure that S009 cannot be rescued, the Revenge Organization launched the Big Bang. How to revive without bones. Faced with Katharina's mocking expression, Sci-fucking was very indifferent from the beginning to the end. She raised her eyebrows and said unhurriedly, in March 5 years ago, you gave me a document asking me to do an experiment for you, but I refused. The full name of the experiment is a new type of laser sword. After I refused, you couldn't find another person to help you, so you had to put this experiment on hold indefinitely. How about it, have you found someone now? Katharina's smile completely disappeared, and her fear broke through the limit of what she could bear at this moment. She hissed sharply, "It's you. It's you. S009 is actually still alive. How can that be? But this matter, only she and S009 know about it. She never even reported to the Revenge Organization. Shortly after S009 rejected her, the Revenge Organization issued an order to kill S009. So she took over without hesitation. And because there is no help from S009, this experiment has indeed not been started until now." "It turned out to be you," Katharina cried and laughed like crazy. "It turned out to be you. How could it be you? I don't believe it. I won't believe it. It's so noisy." Yuning touched her ears, her eyes were cold. "Don't be so noisy, be quiet." In the next second, Katharina's voice seemed to be blocked by something, and she could only whine. Third senior sister Sci-fi tilted his head. "Please check her memory, she is a big fish, and she should be able to gain a lot." Yu-jian stretched her fingers and said happily, "No problem, leave it to me." She stepped forward and raised her hand to hold Katharina's head. Buzz. A strong sense of dizziness came, and Katharina only felt that her consciousness was lost at this moment, and her body fell into the endless universe. Never-ending drops with no escape at all. Katharina is not an evolutionary. Being able to be invisible for a short period of time is indeed the result of using some kind of medicine. Although her IQ is very high, breaking through 200, she is still unable to resist the tough way of searching for memories by spiritual evolutionists like Yuejian. 3 seconds later, Yujian withdrew his hand. "What?" At the same time, Katharina yelled, sweating profusely. Leaning against a post, she passed out. "I saw that my junior sister was bombed 5 years ago, and it was indeed her handwriting." Yujian controlled his anger. At that time, the Invisible Man and the Memory Man had already joined the Revenge Organization, and it was they who teamed up with the shapeshifter. "Kill junior sister. Invisible Man, S-level evolutionary. You can make yourself invisible, you can also help others invisible, and you can teleport within a short distance." Although neither he nor the Memorer is an evolutionary with strong attack power, their evolutionary ability can be called the king of support. Coupled with the shapeshifter, an evolutionary who can change his appearance at will, the three of them can break through almost all defense systems together. There is no defense at all. Yuning's eyelashes drooped, and he gave a low laugh. "Well, invisible people, memory people, shapeshifters, very good. I don't know the reason for the time being." Yujian frowned. "I can't be sure whether the leader of the Revenge Organization knows the other identities of the junior sister." Yuning said flatly, "I kill people, regardless of the reason, they will all die." Si fucking opened a can of Coke with a happy expression, and took a sip comfortably. Facts have proved that Coke is innocent. She knew that it was definitely not because she drank Coke during the experiment that it caused the explosion. For the first time, Yuning pressed the center of her eyebrows. "You are not allowed to drink, but you like to drink Coke. This is happy water for a fat mansion." Sifu glanced at him, and poured tons and tons of water. "You monster who has lived for 500 years, you don't understand anything." Yuning shrugged, and he stood up. "You all watch her, I'll go out for a while." Tan Jingmo asked, "Where are you going?" Yuning said flatly, "Go and arrest people." A gust of wind hit, and the person had disappeared. Finally caught Wan Yu and Mingqi let out a sigh of relief. "Killing junior sister, it will be better for her if she dies." Tan Jingmo smiled, and said coldly, "Not bad, let's play together." One of the murderers he had been looking for 5 full years was right in front of him. "Wake up first." Yuejian's hand pressed on Katharina's head again. Buzz. "Ah!" Katharina screamed. She woke up profusely sweating, and saw Tan Jingmo and others surrounded her. "You, what did you do to me? You, what else do you want to do?" How come no one from the revenge organization came to rescue her? Just for fun, don't be afraid. Yuan Mingqi smiled slightly. Old rules, give me the soul, and give you the rest. The next day, the various researchers of the Intercontinental Research Institute are still in their respective positions, carrying out various experimental projects. No one noticed that Katharina was not there. After all, on weekdays, Katharina has always been an image of an experimental madman, and she often locks herself up. But vengeance organizations are not included. Katharina would report news to the revenge organization at a fixed point every day, but not today. My lord, something has happened. The head of the Dark Guard hurried over and said anxiously, Professor Katharina is missing. Missing? The young man paused, and then changed his expression. What's going on? I can't find any trace. The Dark Guard shook his head and spoke with great difficulty. It just disappeared out of thin air. We can't connect to the chip on her body, so we can't determine whether she is alive or dead, and where she is. Ridiculous. The young man slammed the document on the table and laughed angrily. A big living person, or an S-level researcher, you said she disappeared out of thin air. Katharina is an extremely important pawn arranged by the Vengeance Organization at the Intercontinental Research Institute. In order to prevent her from being exposed, unless it is an urgent large-scale task, she will not be allowed to participate. Over the years, they also obtained a lot of internal information from the Intercontinental Research Institute through Katharina, and successfully eliminated several researchers who threatened the Revenge Organization. At the same time, Katharina also mastered some core information. It's not time for Katharina to be exposed. Look for it. Find it for me as quickly as possible. The young man's emotions were rarely out of control, and he said angrily, if you want to see a person, you want to see a dead body. The head of the Dark Guard wiped his sweat. Yes, my lord, this subordinate will do it now. For a whole day and night, Katharina was enduring inhuman torture. From spirit to soul to body, she completely collapsed. But these few people didn't give her the chance to seek death at all. Even when she can't bear it, let her rest and give her medicine. Sci-fi sat at the side holding the watermelon, watching quietly. After recovering again, Katharina stared at the girl, and suddenly sneered, unfortunately, you tried your best to protect Dean Su, but he is still useless. You died long ago in the eyes of everyone in the Intercontinental Research Institute. You can't recover your identity at all. Even if SI really has some way to restore the identity of S009 researcher, then he will fall into the worst situation. The infinite pursuit of the Revenge Organization. If it is not killed, it will only be hunted down at the highest level. It is absolutely taboo to be resurrected after death, and it is not allowed. The Revenge Organization will desperately arrest SI and conduct various lice experiments. Katharina's smile became more and more weird, with a bit of joy. Dean Su knocked on the melon seeds, and walked out slowly. Who is crazy? I'm in good spirits, and I just ate a caddy of edamame. I'm not crazy, I'm just stupid. There is another update in the evening. New Year's gift. Everyone has a monthly ticket for the new year to vote for Ching Ching. It's almost 1,000 votes, let's make it all up. Everyone cast monthly votes for Ching Ching, and I will write the third update for you. Feeling recovered well after the sun today, I will add more immediately. Oh whoa. My sister finally came back from Hong Kong during the winter vacation, and brought me a box of Tianuse. I thought about it and asked her, in fact, you came back from Changsha. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 856. Looking at Dean Su, who was escorted in by Lang Xian, Katharina's eyes froze little by little. Indeed. How can the old man in front of him look stupid? He walked steadily, with a ruddy complexion and bright eyes. Si raised his eyebrows. Teacher, when did you like eating edamame? Dean Su coughed lightly, and rubbed his head in embarrassment. I ate a plate in the silent dark room that day, and I thought it tasted good, and it opened the door to a new world. He went back and bought a bottle of wine to drink with him. Katharina's eyes were red, she looked at Dean-su in disbelief, and her body trembled even more. A few seconds later, she let out another shrill hiss, "Why are you not crazy? You have been in the silent dark room for 3 days. According to the punishment intensity of the silent black room, ordinary people would enter in a trance state even after 3 hours, let alone 3 days. How could Dean-su be alright? What's wrong with 3 days, Dean-su snorted, with my apprentice here, I can stay there for 30 days without any problem. It's you, Katharina's gaze returned to Sci-fucking, and she screamed out of control, who the hell are you? Who are you? She joined the Revenge Organization 8 years ago. In the past 8 years, she has been working hard at the Intercontinental Research Institute, and the experimental projects have never been missed. She didn't do many missions, so she hasn't been discovered. The researchers respected her, and the Supreme Dean also gave her 3 points of courtesy. They were completely unaware that she was responsible for the deaths of S009 and many senior researchers. This gave Katharina a secret pleasure. Until today, she tried for the first time what is called a complete failure. Lost completely and completely. Didn't you introduce it? Sci-fucking said calmly, I have quite a few accounts, which one do you want to know? Katharina gritted her teeth, so what? Do you think you'll have a chance if you kill me? It's useless. You won't be the adults' opponents at all. She has seen the extraordinary ability of young people, and also knows that the Eternal Continent is a real world. The Revenge Organization has eyeliners in every force, and even she doesn't know how many people are members of the Revenge Organization. Then it's not your business. Sci-fucking was not afraid, she lowered her eyes, they will come down to accompany you, and you will not be alone on the way to Huangquan. Katharina raised her head abruptly, her pupils constricted, what do you mean? You. The following words were completely blocked in his throat. Everything fell into silence. Sci-fucking withdrew his hand, lowered his head slightly, his fingers were trembling faintly. Tan Jingmo stepped forward, patted her on the back, and said in a low voice, Xiaoju, I'm fine already. No. Sci-fucking glanced at him quickly, there is also the feud between sister and sister Ning. Tan Jingmo was silent for a moment, and responded softly, N. Dean-su couldn't help but frowned, and said hesitantly, Ching, just get rid of her like this, the Intercontinental Research Institute. In the eyes of the Intercontinental Research Institute, Katharina is a dedicated professor with a very lofty status. Don't worry about it. Sci-fucking shook his head slightly, and smiled, teacher, you can stay at Huo's house with peace of mind, and I will send you any materials for the experiment. There are too many people in the Intercontinental Research Institute, and it is difficult to clean it up in a short time. That's right, Dean-su sighed, we don't know who is the enemy and who is the friend. After all, before Katharina was dragged out by Sci-fucking, he didn't notice anything abnormal at all. Maybe, Katharina is not the traitor who was placed in the highest position in the Intercontinental Research Institute by the Revenge Organization. Dean-su couldn't help being a little terrified, Senior Dongfang. Teacher Dongfang's situation is relatively safe, because he is the head of the Eternal Academy. Sci-fucking said, the Revenge Organization will not attack him so early. Dean-su breathed a sigh of relief, that's good, I'm afraid he is surrounded by undercover agents. Sci-fucking blinked, I have already given him some methods of catching undercover agents, and it is estimated that they will be effective after a while. Tanjing raised his eyebrows, it seems that you have really learned a lot in T18 these years. Dean-su slapped his head, oh yes, Ching, I haven't asked yet, these people are my senior brothers and sisters on the top of the cloud. Sci-fucking introduced one by one, they are all trustworthy people, and they are very good to me. Dean-su's expression froze, the cloud, The top of the cloud? Both. He stretched out his fingers and began to count tremblingly, 1, 2, 3. When the fifth counted, Dean Su slumped on the chair with a plop, his eyes glazed over. Although he is obsessed with technology, he also knows how well known the 9 disciples on the top of the cloud are in Liberty Island. The 9 disciples were more mysterious than the last one. And now, there are 5 standing in front of him. Dean Su looked at Sci-Fucking with difficulty. Ching ching, Euro. Yuejian patted Sci-Fucking's head, it's junior sister. Dean Su's eyes widened, you are that 9 disciples. Sci-Fucking nodded. It took a long time for Dean Su to calm down, and he sighed again, it's true that one person has achieved the Tao, chickens and dogs ascend to heaven. Lang Xian. There is absolutely something wrong with this sentence. Night. Sci-Fucking returned to Huo's house. The dinner was made by Huo Tianwen, Huo Yangxing, and his son. It was a simple home-cooked dish, but it tasted surprisingly good. Sci-Fucking pinched his chopsticks and looked at Huo Yangxing, who was paralyzed. She thought to herself, she remembered that her eldest cousin didn't know how to cook at the beginning. Could it be that this cooking skill was trained under the supervision of her third senior sister? Good. After eating, Sci-Fucking and Yuzian went for a walk in the big garden of the Huo family. Xiaobai followed behind for a while, then ran to find Xiaoyu. A rare moment of silence. Yuzian raised her hand and habitually fed her girlfriend a piece of chocolate, very happy. Happy Sci-Fu looked at the starry sky, I finally avenged myself. This feeling is quite strange. Yuzian was thoughtful, seeing my own ashes is also amazing. Sci-Fucking stepped on him lightly, hey, don't mention this matter again, I don't know, it's all your fault. Well, I'm to blame. Yuzian paused, then suddenly smiled, yesterday, your elder brother took me to visit your grave. Sci-Fucking. Sci-Fucking. Yuzian bent down and lifted her hair, clothes, in front of the tombstone are your favorite Coke and fried chicken. Sci-Fucking was expressionless. She hardened her fist. She did know that Tan Jingmo and the others had erected a tombstone for her. But they all recognize each other now, why is this tombstone still there? Angrily, Sci-Fucking took out his cell phone and dialed Yunying's cell phone number. Yunying, what have you done, why am I still alive to visit my grave? The wind was howling on the other end of the phone, and Yunying's voice was a little indistinct. Why, when I go back, I will take you to scan it in person, how fun it is. Sci-Fucking gritted his teeth, you must not be caught by me. You are welcome at any time. Yunying was not annoyed, and said unhurriedly, oh, I have something to do, so hang up first. Call ended. Sci-Fucking pointed at the phone, what should I do if he bullies me? Yuzian pondered for a while, then raised her eyebrows and smiled, help you call back. Okay. Sci-Fucking happily lay on his back, that's it? It was not until the afternoon of the next day that the Intercontinental Research Institute discovered the disappearance of Katharina. The reason was that her assistant sent her relevant experimental materials, but found that she was not in the laboratory, nor did she return to her office or home. It must have been done by the Revenge Organization again. The Supreme Dean slammed his fist on the table angrily, they were able to take our people away without making a sound. Dean, please calm down. The Deputy Dean pushed his glasses, maybe things are not that bad, I'll send someone to look for them first. Yes, send someone to look for it immediately. The Supreme Dean took a deep breath, I will go to the Holy Light Tribunal. This time, the head of state must be dispatched in person, otherwise the Revenge Organization will really be lawless. The Vice President nodded and distributed the task to each branch. An hour later, a person came to the east of the Intercontinental Research Institute. Here is a forest. The man looked around, and then took out a communicator. Just after pressing a button, it seemed that he heard something. The man turned around and was about to leave with a serious expression. But the space froze at this moment. Looking for Katharina, I fucking slowly turned out from behind a tree. Oh, I don't think you know, she was just sent to the west by me yesterday, you can go up and find her. The third watch is coming. And there is no monthly ticket for the new year, everyone votes for it. It's almost 1100, please break. Let me report on last year's record. I updated 2.53 million words a year, with an average of 7,000 words a day. I update OO throughout the year to praise myself. See you tomorrow. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Ching Qian. Chapter 857. Upon hearing this, the man's movements suddenly stopped and he raised his head in surprise. He was a very young man, looking to be no more than 30 years old. I fucking glanced at the nameplate on his chest. Well, he is an A-level researcher from the Institute of Biology, and his position is not low. How long have you been a member of the Revenge Organization? Miss, I'm very sorry. The young man looked at her calmly and smiled. I really don't understand what you are talking about, but I have an experiment to be carried out soon. Come and test the signal. After he finished speaking, he was about to leave. But there seemed to be a barrier blocking him, and he couldn't take the second step. The young man finally changed his expression. What did you do? He did come to find Katharina. This is their usual place of contact. But how did this girl know? Cold sweat broke out on the young man's forehead, and his back was also cold. He was recruited by Revenge last year and has been working under Katsalina. It's just that he hasn't completed many tasks this year and hasn't been promoted, so he's a little anxious. Katsalina disappeared for 3 more days, and with his status it was impossible to contact the Revenge Organization directly. The young man couldn't bear it anymore, so he couldn't wait to come here today. He had no idea that someone else was waiting for him. It's nothing. I fucking smiled and held his shoulders. I just want to buy you a cup of tea. Afternoon, Huo family. Dean Su had just finished the experiment and took a break. He was exchanging flower planting experiences with Butler Huo. When he turned around, he saw I fucking throwing in a few people tied with hemp ropes. These people are all wearing research uniforms. Dean Su's expression changed and he quickly stepped forward. Ching Ching, what are you? I fucking patted the dust off his body. Those we caught today are all minions and of no use. The rest of the Huo family heard the sound and came over. Mrs. Huo was a little confused. Caught so many. I squatted down and caught them. I fucking nodded. I didn't expect to catch 7 or 8 at once. Everyone. Is this okay? Huo Tianwen was puzzled. What's wrong with these people's brains? The traitor was so easy to catch, but the Intercontinental Research Institute didn't take any action? It doesn't matter. Katharina has a very high position in the Intercontinental Research Institute. Many traitors use her to complete the tasks of the Revenge Organization. I fucking raised his eyebrows. When she disappears, it is equivalent to a group of people without a leader. Naturally many people will be anxious. When these people are anxious, they will go to the place where Katsalina usually contacts them, find out their psychology, and naturally catch them. The 8 researchers are male and female, old and young. At this moment, their faces were very defeated and they were still begging for mercy. Although we have joined the Revenge Organization, we have never harmed anyone at all. Please let us go. Yes, the Revenge Organization only allows me to conduct experiments in the Research Institute. I don't have any lives on my hands. Absolutely not. Let go. Dean Su's anger surged and he sneered. If you don't harm people now, you will harm others in the future. If you join the Revenge Organization, you are already standing on the opposite side of us. As soon as Dean Su spoke out, the expressions of the 8 researchers changed drastically. Isn't Dean Su crazy? Why are you standing here so well? We finally caught them, but of course we won't let them go. Sci-fi said calmly, teacher, I'll leave it to you. There are also traces of drugs in their bodies, and the blood can be extracted for research. Drugs are also a major killer weapon of revenge organizations, and this drug has not been completely broken down yet. Dean Su was still angry. Okay, leave it to me. Butler Huo immediately asked the escort team to send the 8 researchers into the sealed laboratory. Mrs. Huo's expression was a bit ugly. Ching ching, although you have caught so many, I am afraid it is only a small part. Ensure the safety of other researchers first. Sci nodded slightly. Casalina is dead, and the revenge organization is very cautious. They will not attack the Intercontinental Research Institute again in the short term. It's really a tough battle. Mrs. Huo rubbed her temples. Ching ching, you have a rest. Someone from Siju City happened to be looking for you. I'll ask Yangxing to escort you back. At night, Sijukan Sci studio. Chu Lingyun and Sang Yanking are both there, and other staff are responsible for operating the platform promotion. Sister Sang and I have already decided for you that the second movie will be co-produced with Free Continent. Chu Lingyun was elated. With this movie, I believe you can win Grain's Lifetime Achievement in the Shortest 3 Years prize. After the movie Light was released worldwide, it earned tens of billions at the box office. Successfully ranked among the top 3 global movie box office. The first and second are Sci-Fucking's works when he was Yunlin. But Light was the first film to be introduced to the Free Continent. The Free State Arts Association said the film was astonishing and that the actors' performances were exquisite. Therefore, Sci-Fucking and the other 2 leading actors were specially invited to come. And because the theme song of Light was sung by Su Yang and Zhang Changning, they were also invited. With this, Sci-Fucking is enough to be called a milestone in the history of film. Sci-Fucking lazily snapped his fingers. Then I'll lend Dao Chu some good words. Can I ask Director Chu to protect me? Chu Lingyun choked, and he sighed. I have only been to Free Continent a few times, and I met the president of the Art Association once, but the mask can't be covered. Well, then I'll cover you. Sci-Fu looked at his notice list and touched his chin. Is there a live broadcast tomorrow? Yes, it is also a variety show co-organized by Free Continent. It was Sang Yanking who spoke this time. You haven't shown up for a month. If you don't show up, your fans will come to the studio. In addition to family and friends, fans are also a group that Sci-Fucking attaches great importance to. No problem. Sci-Fucking stretched. Sure enough, being a star is my best disguise. Disguise? Chu Lingyun was suspicious. Do you have some other hidden identity? Is Grain's great honor as the best actress just a disguise? Sci-Fucking looked serious. Actually, I can fly. Chu Lingyun, I believe it. There is such a thing as rejuvenation, but what does it mean to be able to fly? Sci-Fucking felt a little regretful that Chu Lingyun was not frightened. Okay. Ching ching. This is the information about the stars participating in Free Continent's show this time. Sang Yanking put down an information sheet. The organizer said that no one can conflict with Mr. Yu Lingzhao under any circumstances, and the camera will focus on him. Sci-Fucking narrowed his eyes and focused on the surname Yu. Jade family. She didn't care. Well, I'll paddle. Free Continent will send a plane to pick you up tomorrow morning. Sang Yanking said. Have a good sleep and don't forget to send a few photos to your fans. I'm leaving first. After taking 2 steps, she remembered an extremely important thing. 9 square grid. Don't be lazy, each one can't be the same. Sci-Fucking. Being a star is also a very hard thing. This variety show co-organized by Daxia TV and the Free State Arts Association is called A Beautiful Day, and it captures the daily lives of celebrities. The live broadcast officially started after the guests got off the plane. Sci-Fucking opened his arms and hugged Zhang Changning. Ning Ning, long time no see. Zhang Changning took out the lunchbox. I brought you some snacks. Ning Ning, you are so kind. Si fucking held her hand and spoke sincerely, don't worry, I'll cover you later and you can play with me as you like. This is free continent, wow, it feels like a cyberpunk future. The native dog is here, and it's another day to follow Ching Ching to see the world. Why is Si fucking so calm? This is free continent, the most developed and richest place in the world. Have you watched her acting so much that you have forgotten that she is number one in the international entrance examination? The first one would have been able to go directly to free continent. Excuse me, I really forgot. Several people came out of the airport in the main city of free continent, and there were already cars waiting outside the airport. In the other car was a star from the Free State. Many citizens of free continent also got the news and came early in the morning. I'm here to see you, Ling Zhao. Where is Master Ling Zhao? Who are those people? Why do the cameras keep focusing on them? A star from outside China, or some kind of movie queen like Grain, sounds awesome. Why is he so tacky? Look at the pair of shoes she is wearing. The gems inlaid on them are so fake that no one buys them in the wholesale market. The clothes are also quite ugly, and the material looks very poor. It really cannot compare with the technology in the state. Si fucking looked down at the shoes on her feet, thoughtfully. After all, Luling mine is ranked 4th among the 8 major mineral veins. Is it no longer valuable outside? Good morning. At the beginning of the new year, let's start asking for votes. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 858. Although the conversations of the residents were not included in the live broadcast system, the expressions on their faces were clearly captured. What is the attitude of these people? Do they look down on us? Ching Ching Ning Ning. According to me, an old Mao Si with 2.5 years of experience, it's okay to look down on Ching Ching, but if you push her nose and face, your face will swell sooner or later. Brothers and sisters, take a bold guess. Maybe Goddess Si still has a great identity in free continent. I'll make a bet and place my bet. This is Zhang Changning's first time coming from free continent. She was precocious since she was a child, and she also served as the big sister in the Star Girl group in the early days. She still couldn't help but feel a little nervous at the moment. Don't be afraid, Si fucking comforted her. Whoever bullies you, I will ask your brother to kill him with poison. Poisoning is not illegal in free continent. Hearing this, Zhang Changfeng, who was carrying luggage and acting as a bodyguard, said, "Can he still be just a tool?" Yeah, Zhang Changning hesitated for a moment. Actually, I still have some skills to protect myself, but Su Yang is relatively weak, and I'm afraid he won't be able to get used to it for a while. Su Yang was pretending not to hear anything and was watching the scenery. When Len Buting was called, he choked and corrected with a serious expression, "Ahem, actually, I have been working out. I can pick you up with one hand." Zhang Changning quickly lowered his head. "What nonsense are you talking about?" Si fucking touched his chin. "Holding a girl with one hand is your normal strength as a man. Ning Ning is right, you should exercise more." Several people got into the car under the guidance of the staff. This car looks very ordinary, but it also has 2 modes, flying and diving. It is a multifunctional vehicle first invented by Intercontinental Research Institute. It is very convenient and has a very high sales volume to this day. Su Yang opened the car door habitually and waited for Zhang Changning to get in before he got in the car. Si fucking blinked. "When did your relationship become so good?" Zhang Changning said expressionlessly, "Just ordinary friends." Su Yang was very calm. "No, sister, we have always had this relationship." Si fucking suspicious eyes turned between the two of them. Oh. She always felt something was strange. But she couldn't tell. So she poked Zhang Changfeng. "Did you feel that something was wrong with Ning Ning?" Zhang Changfeng was silent for a moment. "No." Si fucking nodded and didn't take it to heart. Maybe I felt wrong. Xiaobai lay on Si-fucking's shoulder, feeling very sad. Too bad, its emotional intelligence will also be taken away by the dog owner. It plans to spend more time with Xiaoyu when the time comes, and maybe even abduct a boy Pixiu. Otherwise, if it follows the dog owner all the time, it will definitely be destined to be alone for the rest of its life. At the same time, Revenge Headquarters. The young man's eyes were deep and he was watching the live broadcast on the big screen. In the lower left corner is the logo of Radio Free Continent and the name of the program. Good day. Because of the absolute popularity of Yu Lingzhao, this variety show attracted many people in the state to watch. It's just that the morning has passed and Yu Lingzhao hasn't appeared yet, which has caused many people to complain. Although it is said to be a program co-organized with the Great Xia Empire from outside the continent, the home venue is still the Free Continent, right? Why do we keep photographing celebrities from outside China? Who wants to see it? Don't tell me, this female star is so pretty. To put it bluntly, I think this female star is more attractive to me than Yu Lingzhao. I am not a bender. Appearance is justice. It's okay without Mr. Lingzhao. Let's not talk about it anymore. I'm going to look for film and television resources outside the continent. The young man narrowed his eyes. He did not expect that after experiencing an explosion in grain, Si-fucking would dare to step into the Free Continent. Not as a member of the Yin family, but as a movie star. Obviously the former can better integrate into Free Continent, but he chose the latter. The young man's eyes narrowed tighter. Is there something hidden? There was a knock on the door at this moment. The young man raised his head. Come in. A young man walked in, his confidant. Sir, not only is Katharina missing, but several of her researchers are also missing. The confidant pursed his lips. It's been 4 days, and it's probably irreversible. It seems that I have inadvertently alerted the snake. I should take it a little longer. The young man frowned, but if the Intercontinental Research Institute discovered Katharina, why didn't it be announced to the public at all? His confidant was also a little confused, so he tentatively asked, could it be that he was kidnapped by other forces? The young man's eyes were heavy. Other forces? The only one who dares to go against the revenge organization is the Holy Light Judgment. But silence is not the style of the Holy Light Judgment Office, so who else could it be? The young man suddenly thought of the mysterious phone call from Grain. That mysterious man wiped out a team of the revenge organization. And so far, he has not found out the identity of the other party. Things got a little out of hand. This is not what he wants to see. That's it, the matter has come to this, we can only give up on Katsalina. The young man pressed his eyebrows. Let everyone else in the Intercontinental Research Institute stop working, and disconnect them all during this period, and prepare for the promotion assessment with peace of mind. The Eternal Academy has also suspended the stealing work until this storm has passed. The confidant responded respectfully, understood. By the way, let Valencia find an opportunity to go in. The young man pointed at Si-fucking on the screen with a calm expression. Kill this Si-fucking in a way that creates an accident. Don't alert others. He didn't know why, but he always felt that the girl on the screen gave him a sense of familiarity. It was very ethereal, appearing and disappearing from time to time, making it difficult for him to grasp. But he searched through his memory and couldn't find anyone who could match his number. Strangeness. The confidant glanced at the big screen. He was a little confused at first, but then suddenly realized, my lord is wise, Lord Valencia and you want to go together, and she has already sneaked in. Oh, the young man raised his eyebrows, glanced around among the stars, and narrowed his eyes. Which one is her? The power of the shapeshifter is that as long as she successfully transforms, as long as she does not actively expose herself, no evolver with a high bloodline will be able to detect her. Of course, Valencia was originally an S-level evolver, and there were very few people with a bloodline higher than hers. So far, No one has been able to see through her disguise. Even the Dean of Eternal Academy, who is the ultimate S-class evolver. The confidant was stunned. This, my subordinates don't know, Lord Valencia didn't tell me. Very good, only if she knows it herself, she can better hide it from everyone. The young man finally showed a smile. Let the memory man and the invisible man cooperate with her and try to kill Sci-fucking before the end of this variety show. The confidant nodded, yes, sir. He was also secretly sweating. This is the first time in 5 years that the 3 auxiliary kings of Transformer, Memorer and Invisible Man are dispatched at the same time. Even if the mission target dies, he will die without regrets. The confidant retreated to contact the Memory Man and the Invisible Man. Here, the hotel in the center of the main city. The organizer was very generous and rented out an entire hotel building to accommodate guests from overseas. Sci-fucking leaned on the sofa. Brothers and sisters, don't look so paralyzed. You are traveling at official expense. Just smile. Zhang Changning pointed at Zhang Changfeng. My brother was tinkering with poison a few days ago and his facial nerves were damaged, so he has been even more paralyzed in the past 2 days. Zhang Changfeng exhaled slowly and admitted with some shame. It's not that he doesn't want to make other expressions, it's just that he can't. Sci-fucking had a complicated expression. As the candidate for the next leader of the Divine Doctor Alliance, you have worked really hard. Tuck 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 dash. There was a knock on the door of the room. Teacher Si, Teacher Zhang, and Teacher Su, Mr. Ling Zhao and others are here. There was a staff member outside the door. Please go down, 3 of you. Sci-fucking responded, come right now. Downstairs, lobby. Yu Ling Zhao sat on the sofa with her long legs crossed. The Yu family owns the entertainment industry, and Yu Ling Zhao just dropped in to have fun while handling business. A very beautiful girl. I have never seen such a beautiful girl. The photographer was beaming. Mr. Ling Zhao, I will definitely open your eyes and you will not be disappointed. Yu Ling Zhao shrugged and smiled slightly. Then you have never seen a real beauty. He has seen it. His aunt, Yuli, was undoubtedly the most beautiful woman in Free Continent. It's a pity that Tian was jealous of the beauty and died early. Oh, Teacher Si is here. The director's eyes lit up. Hurry up and greet him. Yu Ling Zhao looked towards the stairs with a cold gaze. He wanted to see how good looking he could be. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 859. The girl was wearing a very simple white t-shirt and blue jeans. Her long hair was tied up into a very lazy ponytail, with pieces of hair hanging down from her ears. Not too much embellishment, plain and simple. The sunlight outside the window fell on her skin, dyeing it with a layer of light gold, making her more elegant. There is a strong youthful spirit in the girl. She is already incredibly beautiful when she is only 20 years old. It is hard to imagine how beautiful she will be when she is 25 years old. There was silence in the hall for a moment. Yu Ling Zhao was stunned, and his breathing tightened for a moment. Others were stunned in place. Because of Yu Ling Zhao's appearance, the number of people in the live broadcast room also increased steadily. At this moment, the camera gave a close-up of Sci-fucking. Netizens in the continent were also captivated by this beauty. Facts have proved that there are really people in the world who look good wearing a sack. It's so beautiful. Strongly request Free Continent to keep her. The director smiled and said, Teacher Si, everyone praises you for your good looks. Sci-fucking nodded, I like myself quite a lot. Director. On the sofa, Yu Ling Zhao had already withdrawn his gaze. Beside him, a young man asked him with a smile, how does it compare to the aunt you always mention? Yu Ling Zhao frowned, but finally shook his head. Auntie is still a little short of spiritual energy. Fortunately, I came to participate in the show this time, otherwise I would have missed such a beauty. The young man added, I didn't expect that there are such beauties outside the continent. It was really a mistake. I have prepared ingredients for everyone, let's start cooking. The director came to his senses and clapped his hands. A car will be here to pick you up in 2 hours. Zhang Changning's eyes lit up when he heard the word cooking. Su Yang nodded, I'll help you. Si also picked up the kitchen knife. At this time, the young man stepped forward with a charming smile. Hello, Miss Si, I am Yi Huai. I have a request. Although this request is very presumptuous, I decided to say it. Si didn't look at him and was still concentrating on chopping vegetables. She didn't even raise her head. It's very presumptuous, needless to say. No. What's your attitude? You don't think that just because you won the Best Actress award from a foreigner, you already think you can make a difference, right? Do you know where Free Continent is? No matter how arrogant you are outside, you still have to be careful when you come in. Newborn calves are not afraid of tigers. I don't know the status of the Yi family in Free Continent. Understood, ignorant people are fearless, and to put it bluntly, they are stupid. There are 2 live broadcast systems inside and outside the continent, otherwise the 2 sides could start arguing immediately. Yi Huai's smile froze, and he didn't expect that the other party would be so disrespectful to him. But he still said the following words, I fell in love with Miss Si at first sight, please allow me to pursue you. As soon as these words came out, the surroundings fell silent. Even Yu Lingzhao looked at Yi Huai with some surprise. Although the Yi family is not among the 4 major families, it is still a major family in Free Continent, and its status is not low. Not allowed. It's not right to be in the wrong household, so Yi Huai is just playing around. With a pop sound, Si finally chopped off the chicken's head. She was still holding the knife, and the blade reflected light, reflecting her cold eyebrows. What did you just say? Yi Huai's expression completely froze. He raised his hands and took a step back, sighing, sorry, I didn't say anything. There was a lot of curses in the Free Continent live broadcast room. Netizens were very crazy and used all kinds of dirty words. Ms. Huo frowned and her voice became cold, call the main station immediately and have all these accounts blocked. Butler Huo quickly responded, yes, madam. Ms. Huo became angrier as she watched, these people. If Ching Ching hadn't allowed me to come forward, I would have to tear their mouths apart. In front of the Huo family, the Yi family can't compare with one finger. What? Huo Yangxing glanced at the big screen and said intentionally or unintentionally, my cousin is so popular, don't you have any sense of crisis? Are you afraid that someone will really show up and knock you down? He had to admit that it would be harder for his brother to find a girlfriend than to kill him. His girlfriend is still his cousin. It was like stabbing him in the heart. Yu Zian propped his head and said in a light voice, well, your revolution was successful? Did you get your innocence back? Huo Yangxing. He gritted his teeth, no. His heart was now riddled with holes. As soon as the Huo family was dispatched, the keyboard warriors also realized something was wrong. What's going on? Why was my account blocked? I had to open another one. Didn't I just curse this foreign female star? Too much to scold. My account has also been blocked. Forget it, she was the first one invited in after all. Stop scolding her and show her a lot. Zhang Changning's craftsmanship has been unanimously recognized. After the meal, the atmosphere became much more harmonious. After eating, the guests, led by the director team, visited the main city of Free Continent. After arriving at the first scenic spot, Si received a call from Yun Ying. Yun Ying rarely takes the initiative to call other people. Once he does, the matter becomes urgent. She turned off the mic and took a step behind, elder brother. Xiaju, someone from the revenge organization has lurked into your program. Yun Ying nodded his ears and lowered his voice, be careful, you may be monitored. Si narrowed his eyes, nodded slightly and said, Transformer. It can only be her, Yunying said calmly. I am still tracking the traces of the invisible people and the memory people. You must take care of yourself to prevent what happened 5 years ago from happening again. I fucking hummed, I know. There was too much movement last time. They were afraid of losing more manpower this time, so they chose to let the shapeshifters sneak in directly. Yunying added, I looked at your notice list. There are quite a lot of activities, and there are also some dangerous behaviors. Don't trust anyone at this time. No one can bear what happened 5 years ago again. I fucking said softly, Senior brother, thank you. You're welcome, Yunying said, remember to prepare tributes. I will take you to visit the grave after the show. I fucking. She is still too naive. Why does she think that the senior brother is a kind person? I fucking turned off her phone with an expressionless expression. She walked forward slowly and glanced at the 10 stars who came to participate in one beautiful day this time. 5 men and 5 women. Except for the 4 people on her side, the remaining 6 people are all very famous in Free Continent. Especially Yu Lingzhao, one of the next successors to the Yu family. Who will Valencia choose to become? It is undeniable that Valencia, as an S-class evolver, has the same bloodline as her current one. Coupled with the help of those with memories, she can perfectly reproduce her appearance, DNA, and memories, making it impossible for even those closest to her to recognize her. There is currently no way to crack it. Zhang Changning noticed Si fucking's emotional uneasiness. Si, what's wrong? Si fucking raised his head, his expression solemn as never before. Ning, from now on, you and Su Yang must not leave my sight. Zhang Changning was stunned and didn't ask why. Okay. Don't resist. Si fucking pinched her wrist and whispered, I'll brand your soul so that I won't misidentify you. Zhang Changning also knows that Free Continent is very dangerous. Every day new forces are born and old forces are destroyed. There are 4 major families and the Holy Light Judgment in the main city. The level of safety has indeed improved, but the level of danger has not decreased but increased. Si fucking also left a mark on the souls of Su Yang and Zhang Changfeng. This is a method that only Onmyoji can use. Hey, I called you, a voice sounded, we have left, why are you still behind, what are you doing sneakily? Si fucking raised his head. It's a woman with blonde hair. Evelyn Brandt. Miss Brandt. Where did you buy these shoes? What's your aesthetic? Evelyn covered her mouth with a look of disgust. Is this your overseas aesthetic? It's a bit too bad. Ha 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 ha, the eldest lady is showing off her power. I like the eldest lady's uprightness. A country bumpkin from outside the continent is a country bumpkin. What's the use of being arrogant? The design of the shoes is barely visible. Where did you get this gem from? Evelyn then pointed, the luster is unclear and there are so many impurities. Is it from a street vendor? Yu Lingzhao couldn't listen anymore, turned his head, and said calmly, that's not a low-quality gem, it's a green spirit mine. It has many lines. If you haven't learned how to identify ores, don't do anything here. The barrage cleared instantly. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 860. Evelyn's expression froze, and she couldn't believe what she heard. What? Green spirit mine. The program team was also shocked. The director also stayed where he was, forgetting to ask the photographer to cut out this section. After 10 seconds of silence, scattered exclamation marks and question marks floated across the live broadcast room. Damn green spirit mine. What is green spirit mine? It doesn't sound like much. Idiot. That is the 4th ranked ore among the 8 major mines, and it is hard to buy for $1,000. To briefly explain, The top 3 ores from the 8 major mines will not be sold in the market, and the 4th to 6th mines require special trading licenses, which cannot be bought with money. As far as I know, the Brandt family where Miss Evelyn lives does not have a trading license for the Green Spirit mine. The Yi family does have some, but they can only buy so much in a year. Then she actually wore it on her shoes. What a big dog. What a rich woman. The director team inside and outside the country are all in the same mood, and the director will certainly not give up on such a hot spot. He immediately asked the photographer to focus on Sci-Fucking's shoes, and asked himself, "Teacher Si, are these green stones not cheap? Why do you want to make shoes?" Sci-Fucking took a look at his shoes and said, "I don't know the price. I picked them up on the ground." She really wasn't lying. It was indeed when she went to the Green Spirit mine that Ziobai ran in and took out a few Green Spirit stones. It happened that she was drawing a design for Gyeonju, and she was so inspired that she used these green stones to make a pair of shoes and a pair of cufflinks. She gave the cufflinks to Yu Zion. There is indeed no market price. There was silence again. The director found it difficult for him to maintain his smile. "Teacher Si, you really know how to joke." Audiences in the Daxia Empire have long been accustomed to this. Familiar recipe, familiar taste, as expected of you, Sci-Fucking. This director's heart can't bear it anymore. Let's replace him with Director Chin. "Director Chin, how do you think I came here before?" The director's heart is not strong enough, but his professional qualities are excellent. He quickly smoothed things over and started photographing scenic spots. Sci-Fucking nodded slightly towards Yu Lingzhao. "Thank you, it's actually nothing." Yu Lingzhao's cheeks felt faintly hot, and his voice was very cold. "I'm not helping you." He looked away, feeling an inexplicable sense of familiarity in his heart. Maybe he had seen Sci-Fucking somewhere? But if you have seen such a face, you will never forget it. Strangeness. Yi Huai was a little surprised when he saw that Yu Lingzhao was in a trance. "Lingzhao, don't you also have a crush on her? If you do, then I will definitely have to quit. But you have to be careful. If you really get together with an overseas star, your family and your fans will go crazy." The Yu family has always kept a low profile, and Yu Lingzhao doesn't have the same sinister aura as Ye Baking. In addition, he has appeared in several film and television dramas, and his popularity is the highest among the direct descendants of the 4 major families. He is the dream lover of many girls. Yu Lingzhao gave him a cold look. "Is this the only thing in your mind?" Yi Huai was not angry, but instead smiled. "I am just an idle young man. I don't need to think about the Yi family's business. Of course I only look for fun." He lowered his voice, "But Miss Si looks different from the girls I've seen, and it's very difficult to communicate." Yu Lingzhao ignored him and walked forward. Later, Evelyn muttered in dissatisfaction, "What's wrong with the Luling mine? I have Uexio at home, do you have it?" Sci-Fucking raised her eyebrows. This time it was Zhang Changning who spoke. "The birthplace of Yu embroidery is the Daxia dynasty, and we are Daxia people." Evelyn was confused. "Really? Okay." Next to her, the female companion stopped her in time. "Xiaolin, I mainly came out to play today, so don't make trouble." Sci-Fucking blinked. "Miss Evelyn is very powerful." "That's right." Evelyn puffed up her chest proudly. "If you go to Beijing City and tell me your name, you can walk sideways." Sci-Fucking nodded slightly. "I will go if I have the chance." Evelyn then asked, "So what were you doing in the back just now?" Sci-Fucking opened his eyes and told lies. "Look at how beautiful my shoes are." Evelyn. She couldn't keep up with her boss Fu Qing's magical turn, and stammered, "Then, can I buy your pair of shoes? Tell me, I will accept any request." Si Futang did not refuse. "I'll forget it if I wear them. I can make a pair for you when I have time." Evelyn's eyes lit up. "Are you still a designer?" Si Fucking touched his chin. That's right, deputy. After some testing, the personality of each guest was undoubtedly consistent with the information she collected. After all, Ji Chun Yuan taught her for a short time, and her spiritual cultivation had reached a bottleneck. And Valencia has the same level of blood as hers, so she can't see the difference in soul. At first glance, everyone seems normal. That's the tricky thing about shapeshifters. I fucking thought for a moment and sent a message to Yuan Mingqi. Fifth senior brother, please help me mark my grandmother's souls. The shapeshifters are out again. They can only be identified through this method. Yuan Mingqi, understood. I will act together with Miss Minjiao and the Ji family, little junior sister, don't worry. Yuan Mingqi, you appear in public a lot and are in the most dangerous situation. Take care of yourself first. Do you understand? I fucking put away her cell phone. Let's go, Ning Ning, let's go. At the end of the day's shooting, the guests returned to the hotel at 8 o'clock in the evening. Zhang Changfeng found several medicinal plants in the hotel garden. He suffered from an occupational disease and was pulling weeds outside with Zhang Changning. Su Yang is responsible for delivering the tools. I fucking asked Xiaobai to follow the three of them and return to the room first. As soon as I entered, I couldn't help but be startled when I saw the person on the sofa. How did you get in? Yu Xian put down his teacup, nodded and said, this hotel owes me some money. I fucking. Okay, no need to say more. She knew it was definitely not some money. No wonder it is said that the owners of the 8 major mines control the economic lifeline of free continent. I fucking sat down on the sofa and suddenly said, hey, brother Ju, it's your birthday soon, I'll give you dash. Before she finished speaking, Yu Xian raised his hand and covered her lips with a smile, ching ching, it's not my birthday. I fucking suddenly seemed to have thought of something. If you refuse so quickly, you don't think I'm going to give you noodles again, do you? Yu Xian paused for a moment. No. Absolutely. I fucking patted his shoulder. You are silent, you feel guilty. Yu Xian remembered how Lord Moiwan had poured out so much bitterness on him and complained about the bowl of noodles for an hour, and his head couldn't help but hurt. 2 lifetimes later, the bowl of noodles he once had really left an impression on him to this day. He touched her head. Ching ching, don't worry, it will be June 6th. June 6th, I fucking was startled. Does it have any special meaning? Yu Xian just smiled. It's a windy day. Feng Dong, I fucking glanced at him. If I don't want to talk to you, a cultured person, I will go down to see Ning Ning. Yu Xian hummed and smiled. I bought you a supper, I asked Feng San to deliver it. I fucking walked out the door. Yu Xian also stood up. A gust of wind blew in outside the window, and the flowers and plants rustled. It is not the wind that moves, nor the flags that move, but the heart of a benevolent person. It's an exciting day. Yu Xian sighed. Girls are quite cute sometimes when they are silly. On the other side, the Yi family. Yi Huai returned to Yi's home under the escort of a special car. Mrs. Yi and the head of the Yi family were sitting in the living room waiting for him. Yi Huai was a little confused. What's going on? Mrs. Yi raised her head, frowned and asked him, I heard from your brother that you publicly confessed your love to an overseas celebrity on a live broadcast program. This matter has already become a hot search topic. Yi Huai shrugged. Yes. Mrs. Yi's frown deepened, and you were rejected without mercy. Yi Huai's expression froze. Mom, it's just the effect of the show, it's not real. Of course he won't admit that he was rejected. This is about a man's dignity. Whether it's true or not, this will bring disgrace to our Yi family. Mrs. Yi said coldly, you don't have to, but she can't refuse. Yi Huai didn't care. It's a challenge to chase him like this. How interesting it is. Sir, Madam the housekeeper came up at this moment. This is the information of Mrs. I fucking. The head of the Yi family pushed up his glasses. took them and looked through them, shaking his head. The resume is pretty good. But this was in Free Continent, and with Yi Huai, it was still too far behind. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 861. What is the queen of the international movie? What is the number one in the international entrance examination? What is the number one oracle god? These names are placed outside the continent, and any one of them can shock the world. But in Liberty Island, adding up is useless. Patriarchy put Sci-fi's information aside, and looked at Yi Huai with a cold expression. The reason why I agreed with you to enter the entertainment circle was for the sake of being able to get in touch with Mr. Ling Zhao. Not for women go. Why are you so nonchalant? Yi Huai was a little displeased. Dad, she is definitely the prettiest woman I've ever met. Can a face be eaten? Mrs. Yi hated iron and steel. I don't care about you in private, be honest with me in front of the camera. The family has arranged a blind date for you. You will meet Miss Duan this Saturday. Don't make unnecessary scandals. The Duan family and the Yi family are evenly matched, and they are also big families in Freedom Island. Mrs. Yi intends to match this marriage. Yi Huai responded casually, understood, I'll go upstairs to rest first. After Mrs. Yi taught Yi Huai a lesson, she was still a little dissatisfied. I'll go to the program group tomorrow, and let this foreigner stay away from Yi Huai. If she doesn't listen, you can tell the main station to remove her from the program group. Mrs. Yi became more and more angry. The art association has gone too far this time. It is unreasonable to ask Yi Huai to spread the heat in order to win an actress outside the continent. Okay, don't be angry, don't be angry. Patriarchy hurriedly comforted her. Let's prepare for the meeting between Xiao Huai and Miss Duan first, and make arrangements for them as soon as possible. Mrs. Yi's expression softened. No matter what, I'm going to watch the show tomorrow. The next day, morning. Somewhere in the main city. In a room, the space suddenly twisted, and a figure appeared. Valencia. The visitor's voice was hoarse. My lord asked me to cooperate with you and kill Sci-fi. It's Edmund. Valencia turned his head. You're here, so is Kanta here. Kanta Parsons, remember? Edmund Parsons, the Invisible Man. Few people in the outside world know that they are actually a pair of brothers. It's here, Edmund said lightly. Don't worry about his side. What about your side? Valencia flicked her hair. Don't worry, she will never know who I am, not even the relatives of this body. Edmund nodded, then frowned, and asked, Valencia, do you feel she has a sense of familiarity? Familiar, Valencia pondered. If you say that, there really is, and there is a kind of very uncomfortable victory in your hands. Edmund said, why bother to create an accident? Just let me push her on the bank and drown her when you go to visit the Pole River. She is a transcendent, a great evolutionary, and a daughter of destiny. Valencia shook her head. The residents of Freedom Island don't know, and you don't know either? How could she be killed so easily? Okay, remember to call me when the plan is implemented, and I will cooperate at any time. After Edmund finished speaking, his figure disappeared from the room. Valencia stretched her waist and stretched her muscles. Then, her face and figure changed instantly, and she became a completely different person. She looked in the mirror before walking out satisfied. An hour later, the guests gathered again at the designated place. The director team and the photography team are also in their positions. The place we are going to today is the Onmyoji Association. The director clapped his hands. Mr. Si and Mr. Zhang are here for the first time, so let's take care of them. Take these bumpkins from outside the continent to see the world. You must have never seen an Onmyoji, right? I must have never seen it before. They don't know that this is actually a supernatural world. There are not only Onmyojis, but also evolutionaries. On a new day, Yi Huai completely forgot about Mrs. Yi's orders. He couldn't wait to show courteousness to Si Fu. Miss Si, Onmyojis are relatively dangerous people, I will protect you in a while, you have to follow me closely. Zhang Changfeng's mouth twitched. Protect who? Si fucking still didn't look at him. Don't follow me, stay away from me. Miss Si, don't be so divided. Yi Huai was not annoyed, but smiled. Freedom Island is not as simple as you imagined, but it will be different with me. Onmyoji is not easy. Si fucking finally took a look at him, and said unhurriedly, it seems that you don't know that I am from the Great Xia Empire. Yi Huai was taken aback, I know. If you knew, why would you teach me about Onmyoji in front of me? After finishing speaking, Si fucking walked around him. Arrogant again, why are you so crazy? Those who don't know think that Onmyoji is the origin of your family. Why did Yi Huai fall in love with her? It's really annoying. Yi Huai pursed his lower lip, what does she mean? Because Onmyoji originated in Daxia, Yu Lingzhao said flatly, it was born 3,000 years ago and reached its peak 1,500 years ago. Dongsang's way of yin-yang and 5 elements was also inherited in Daxia. Onmyoji in Liberty Island only started to develop in modern times. When you talk about Onmyoji in front of the people of Daxia, it is indeed playing tricks. Some of the Onmyojis in Free State were migrated from Dongsang. The other part, after the birth of the holographic game Eternal, after studying as a teacher in the Eternal Continent, became the mainstay of the Onmyoji Association. In terms of history, it is indeed far inferior to the Great Xia Empire. The barrage froze again. The citizens of Freedom Island have never been out of Freedom Island for 3 generations, and they have almost no understanding of the outside world. Is the Great Xia Empire so awesome? I thought it was just a dilapidated village. I always thought that people outside the continent were still living a primitive life. Suddenly want to go out and have a look. When does the travel agency have tour groups outside the continent? Yi Huai hit a wall again, and was also a little annoyed. But he suppressed his anger and looked for another chance to get close to Si fucking. He didn't believe that with the Yi family, he couldn't win a female star from outside the continent. The Onmyoji Association is a non-governmental organization in Free State, but it has been recognized by the Holy Light Tribunal. There are tens of thousands of Onmyojis in the association, and Kenji Tachibana, the chairman, is also extremely powerful. He is a major force that cannot be ignored in Liberty Island. Zhang Changfeng glanced at a few windows, and had an idea in his mind, it doesn't look as good as Brother G. Chicken brother, Zhang Changning said, brother, when did you become sworn brothers with a chicken? Zhang Changfeng. The veins on his forehead twitched, it's the one from the G family. Zhang Changning came to a sudden, it's him. Of course not as powerful as Ji Xingzi. Si rubbed his chin, he is a rare genius in the Ji family. Zhang Changfeng was expressionless, it's quite boring. It's better to play games in the hotel. It's all here, let's tell your fate. The director clapped his hands again, choose a window at random, and the program team will reimburse you. Evelyn came over and said, hey, do you want to tell your fortune? Master Shen Yuan is very accurate. I can take you there. Si fucking politely refused, we don't count. Why isn't it counted? Evelyn was like a question mark, asking to the end when encountering something, if it counts as a bad thing, it can be avoided. Si Fu tilted his face seriously, if you know something bad, you will feel bad. Evelyn was circled again, and after a few seconds, she accepted, what you said seems to make sense. When Evelyn left, Zhang Changning hesitated and lowered his voice, Si, are you probing something? Well, I didn't find out. Si fucking glanced at the guests calmly, things are a little tricky. At this time, the director gestured to Si fucking, and called her, Mr. Si, someone is looking for you, please stop for a moment. Si fucking took off the wheat and walked over, who is it? The director pointed to the door with some embarrassment, it's MRS Yi, Yi Huai's mother. Si fucking looked up. A graceful and luxurious woman stood at the door, looking her up and down coldly. Si fucking, right? Let me warn you, you'd better not think about getting anything from Yi. Why, the Yi family won't eat you said. People from outside the continent must have self-awareness. At what point do you think you can enter my Yi's house? I don't know what kind of ecstasy drug was given to her son. The live broadcast in the morning made her very angry. You treat your son as a treasure, and he is nothing to me. Si fucking crossed his arms. Don't take yourself too seriously, I don't even know what your Yi family is. Mrs. Yi almost suspected that she had heard it wrong. Her chest was so angry that she kept rising and falling. What did you say? Deaf. Si fucking raised his eyebrows. She turned on the microphone directly, amplified her voice the loudest, and said unhurriedly, please Pu Zinan's mother stay away from me, and take care of her son, don't let him harass me, and don't go crazy with me. With a shua, many people in the hall looked over. Mrs. Yi's eyes darkened and she was almost dizzy. Okay, you really don't know what to do. Mrs. Yi was furious. Why don't you kick her out quickly? Are you going to make her piss me off? The director froze. Madam Yi, this is a live broadcast. You. The live broadcast room has exploded. Good morning. The sequelae are a bit serious. I have been insomnia for 4 or 5 days, and I can't sleep at all. Today, my cough suddenly worsened, and my mood is complicated.